Good morning, First Baptist. I'm here again. It's in the morning. I haven't showered. I haven't cleaned myself up. Haven't put my makeup on. Just kidding. Um, but I wanted to capture some thoughts that I had after reading for 2 Corinthians chapter 11. And I went on to chapter 12 because it's hard to really understand the end of chapter 11 without reading through 12:10. And so I'm going to kind of combine the two for us this morning. Um, as you read this passage, you might be sort of confused by all this boasting that Paul is doing. And of course, he's defending his ministry, but he's defending his ministry in a unique way, in the sense that he's boasting in um, weaknesses, as he calls them. Matter of fact, some of you might already have an idea of what weaknesses are, but I want to put it into a context of how what Paul kind of defines weaknesses as what he relates weaknesses to. In 12:10, he says this: "For the sake of Christ, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong." So he's referring to weaknesses, not so much as these are the things that I'm not good at, although I'm sure that is in view here as well, but also hardships and insults and persecutions and calamities. And if you read 2 Corinthians 11, you're going to see all those things. I'm going to read some of these because, quite frankly, when I read this list of hardships and calamities and persecutions that, or weaknesses that Paul goes through, I kind of think to myself, I don't have it that bad, do I really? But there's a reason he's boasting in these weaknesses, and so after I read this, I want to talk about that reason. In 2 Corinthians 11, um, I want to start in verse 23. Are they servants of Christ? He says, "I am a better one. I am talking like a madman, with far greater labors, far more imprisonments, countless beatings, and often near death. 5 times I received at the hands of the Jews 40 lashes less one. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. A night and a day I was adrift at sea, on frequent journeys, in danger from rivers, danger from robbers, danger from my own people, danger from Gentiles, danger in the city, danger in the wilderness, danger at sea, danger from false brothers, in toil and hardship, through many sleepless nights, in hunger and thirst, often without food, in cold and exposure. And apart from other things, there is the daily pressure on me of my anxiety for all the churches." I look at that list and I go, uh, who am I? But he's using this list not as a way to brag and see what I went through, see how tough I am. He's not doing that. Matter of fact, he explains himself in chapter 12 to say these are actually weaknesses. These are times in my life where I come to an end of myself, and it is in those times that Christ's power rests on me. It is in those times that God showed up, and His grace was sufficient for me, and Paul's power was actually made perfect in those weaknesses. Or Christ's power was made perfect in those weaknesses, or hardships, or times of persecution and toil and insult, because that's what happens when we look at some tough things in our lives. It is those very weaknesses or hardships, um, where Christ's power is most evident at in our lives, as we look to Him to say, we come to an end of ourselves and say, God, I need you. I need you to show up and show off in my life. And it's if Paul was looking at these things and saying to the people, not look at how tough I am, but look what Christ has brought me through. He did it. If I'm going to boast, I'm going to boast in the Lord. I'm going to boast in the things that He brought me through. Look at the power of Christ at work in me. It's not me. It's not my ability. It's not my strength. It's Christ's power at work in me. So in our weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities, God makes us strong in the power of Christ. And think about that in this time where we have an opportunity to let Christ's power rest upon us as a church, as individuals, even in the midst of our fears and worries and anxieties about this virus and the economy and so many other things. Family, my challenge and encouragement to you is, and myself really, as I was challenged by this, to look to Christ and boast in what He is going to do in and through this situation, in and through our weaknesses. His grace is sufficient.